Don't give up when your heart is weary. Don't give up when your eyes are teary. Don't give up when your voice is trembling, when your life needs mending. Don't give up when the hurt is near you. Don't give up when the world seems to be broken. I'm still hoping with my heart open, for a brighter day.
Sarah Gotti, survivor of the Holocaust. Justice is for everyone to be treated equally. I hate seeing people separate people for just their skin color. It is horrible. Hitler was doing it too. Why can we not just get along? I do not see any justice in this world. Sarah Gotti.
Gary Hyman, second-generation Holocaust survivor. Justice is having a genuine respect and concern for all people, regardless of their race, religion, or ethnicity. Gary Hyman.
Tomas Habimana, survivor of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. Is there something such as justice? I don't even know. Justice would be finding a way as a survivor to live a normal life, to be accepted into society, and hopefully not deal with genocide deniers. Maybe if I can have peace, I can have justice. Tomas Habimana.
David Morse choreographed our story inspired by the stories of the Holocaust. Justice is that golden rule. Justice was unattainable after the Holocaust because it ripped apart the fabric of humanity's soul. Our best attempt at justice from this faraway vantage point is to honor what they went through, because the worst thing to do is forget what happened. David Morse.
Armando Fusero, veteran of World War II. Justice is equality for everyone, despite their religion, nationality, and the color of their skin. Armando Fusero.
Jay McGee, a Marine who served in Guadalcanal in World War II. Justice is an eye for an eye, a bullet for a bullet. Jay McGee.
Bill Otto, veteran of the Navy, attorney, and son of a Pearl Harbor survivor. Justice is the process of treating someone fairly. Justice is the golden rule, to do to others as you would want them to do to you. Bill Otto.
Robert Dirksing, veteran of Vietnam. Justice means the people who do wrong are penalized and the people who do good are rewarded. But the world doesn't have much justice. Justice is what we can do ourselves to make it happen. Because we can't control the system, justice is the golden rule. Do unto others what you would have them do unto you. Robert Dirksing.
George Schuster, veteran of Vietnam. Justice is getting penalized for doing wrong. As a veteran, the United States Department of Veteran Affairs provided me and other veterans with lifelong healthcare service. To me, this is an action of justice. George Schuster.
Joe Johnson, veteran of Vietnam, adopted father, and wheelchair-bound. In my opinion, justice is still just us. It's not fair, because in similar cases, the black individual is going to come out worse than the Caucasian individual. I do not think during my lifetime there will be any equal justice based on what I've seen. That is the way our society is. Joe Johnson.
Dion W. Goins, veteran of the war in Iraq. Justice is doing what is right. Sometimes that's spending time behind bars or doing community service. It could be easy as saying an apology. Dion W. Goins.
William Callard Jr. III served in the military for 17 years, veteran of the war in Iraq. Justice is people doing what they're supposed to do. Justice is being accountable for your actions and making right what you did wrong, or enjoying what you did right. William Callard Jr. III.
Sasha Neyman, Executive Director of the Children's Law Center, immigrant from the Ukraine, second-generation Holocaust survivor. Justice is the presence of whatever is right and good and true, with a capital R and G and T. However, justice must evolve with whatever is greater than us. Sasha Neyman.
Hal Sunderman, veteran of Vietnam, attorney, and serves as a judge. Justice is treating everyone fairly and equally as best you can. When people come into court, as a judge, I listen to them, look at the evidence of their case, look at the evidence of the other side, and try to make the best decision I can based on who is right and who is wrong. Hal Sunderman.
Iris Rowley, community advocate for police reform and social justice. When talking about police reform, justice looks like equity, transparency, and accountability, and when you can measure those things through policies and procedures. Justice is being treated fairly. When you're talking to an officer, you want to be treated like a human being. You want to be respected and called by your name. That's justice. Iris Rowley.
Robert Lomax, a deputy sheriff, a man of faith, an artist. He uses his talents and vocation to both uphold justice and to be a force for change. Justice involves fairness for everyone. Justice involves equality for everyone. Robert Lomax.
Robert Deck served as a police officer for the city of Cincinnati. Justice is treating everybody with equality. Justice is treating everybody how you would like to be treated, no matter their color, no matter what they look like. Justice is treating everybody right all the time. Robert Deck.
Jay Barnes, former police officer for the city of Cincinnati. Justice is the fair and impartial delivery of the law. Justice is remembering that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Jay Barnes.
Whitney Austin, victim of gun violence at Fifth Third Bank in September of 2016. Justice is the act of what is righteous and what is fair. When I think of gun violence, mostly I think about finding justice for the victims and making sure that whoever did this thing to them is held responsible and accountable for his actions. Whitney Austin.
Zachary Goodman, rabbi at Wise Temple. In Hebrew, the word for justice is zedek, which means righteousness. Justice has a lot to do with showing up. Justice is when a person does not stand idly by, but uses his or her voice to speak out and build bridges of understanding. Zachary Goodman.
Stacey Midge, Reverend at Mount Auburn Presbyterian Church, an inclusive faith community. Justice occurs when every organism, every living thing, and every ecosystem has what it needs to thrive. Stacey Midge.
Marie Kelly, Sister of Notre Dame de Namur. Justice means that we are equal to everyone and we have an obligation to make sure that everyone's voice is heard and respected. Marie Kelly.
Rebecca Trujillo, Sister of Notre Dame de Namur, worked for justice in Nicaragua for 23 years. Justice and mercy are very connected. Justice is about relationships, and it begins at the grassroots. Justice grows the more you practice it. As the prophet Micah says, do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. We must affirm other people on their march for justice. Justice is working to create beauty. Rebecca Trujillo.
Christian James lived with ongoing challenges of ALS diagnosis before passing away in November of 2022. Christian lived justice by saying, I'll listen to you, try to understand your view, and not talk you out of it, but use my personal justice to live the right way, to show you by my actions why I believe that and why I believe it's true. Christian James.
Nkiru Okoye, immigrant from Nigeria, oncologist in the United States. Justice is being free and fair. Justice is that every single person deserves respect, whether you are the top 1% or the person down on that ladder. Nkiru Okoye.
Mimi Zoga, Ethiopian immigrant who overcame challenges, built a family, and created a successful life. Justice is always doing the right thing, even if everyone is wrong. Being fair and compassionate is the most important thing in justice. Mimi Zoga.
Nemia Mola, Ethiopian immigrant who came to U.S. at 12 years old, an astonishing tennis player diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 18. Justice is moral righteousness, or just to put it simply, fairness. Don't do something to someone else that you wouldn't want that person to do to you. Justice includes just healthcare, equal employment opportunities, and housing. Nemia Mola.
Charles Azuka, immigrant from Nigeria, works to help the immigrant community in Cincinnati adjust to their new lives. Justice is fair treatment of everyone, irrespective of color. Justice is fair treatment. It is good benefits and repercussions. If I do wrong, I should get repercussions. And if there are opportunities, I should get it. Charles Azuka.
Bahati Muzanende, human rights activist, refugee from the Congo. Justice is when you do something that gives me my rights. You've given me justice. When you have answered my needs and my prayers, then you've given me justice. Bahati Muzanende.
Jesse Harris grew up in Alabama and faced injustice under Jim Crow. Moved to Cincinnati in 1960s as part of the Great Migration. Justice is to be treated equally for the same crime. Justice is being paid the same amount of money for the same job. Jesse Harris. Daisy Harris grew up in Alabama and faced injustice under Jim Crow. Moved to Cincinnati in 1960s as part of the Great Migration. Justice is walking through the front door and sitting down at the table alongside everyone else. Daisy Harris.
Dorothy Taggart, retired teacher who worked with troubled youth. Grew up during the racism and segregation of Jim Crow, Alabama. Justice is just us. The white community expects things to be fair, but the black community does not expect things to be fair. Every day you wake up and look in the mirror at a black face, it isn't going to be fair. Dorothy Taggart.
Brian Riblet, City Manager for Montgomery. Driving force for setting up the Diversity and Inclusion Commission for the City of Montgomery. Justice is the equal treatment of everyone. Justice is people being able to live their lives, being able to express their freedoms. Justice is being able to be treated just like everybody else in this country without backlash, without being looked at differently, without the comments on social media, without feeling bullied, and without all the judgment. Justice is living as one society. Brian Riblet.
Chip Herod, Cincinnati civic leader and advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion in Cincinnati. Justice, in one word, is fairness. Justice to me is just a basic human fairness. Justice is giving people what they need and not discriminating against them based off ethnicity, gender, or sexuality. Chip Herod.
Rick Connor, docent at the Holocaust and Humanities Center, conscientious objector. Justice is fairness in every dealing. Through fairness, you give people the opportunity that you would want yourself. Rick Connor.
Marie Johnson, student at Rochester Institute of Technology, part of the deaf community, adopted into her forever family when she was 2 years old. I think justice means many different things. For me, it means showing people respect and including them. I think equality is the most important part of justice. We are all the same. We must all show respect. Marie Johnson.
Lane McDonald works at ProKids as a foster care advocate. Justice is making sure everyone gets the appropriate response. It is not about making sure things are fair. Justice is equity, putting us on the same footing, not making sure we all have the exact same things. Justice is making sure the voices of foster kids are heard. Lane McDonald.
Patrick Cosgrove, principal, coach, and former teacher who fights for justice within the educational community. Justice is about accepting and understanding. Justice is understanding the difference between equality and equity. Justice is remembering that not everyone is running the same race or starting at the same place. Patrick Cosgrove.
Melissa Frolick, a parent of an adopted child with ongoing medical needs. Justice is having the respect and dignity for mankind and humanity. You have to respect the human person, from the unborn to the elderly, all through stages of life. Melissa Frolick.
Casey Farrell, mother of a daughter with spinal muscular atrophy. She is part of a nonprofit which brings awareness and raises money for new drug advancement. Justice is fairness to everyone and for what people deserve. Justice is being equal. In a medical situation, justice is making sure people get the treatment they deserve. Casey Farrell.
Tracy Logan, mother of an internationally adopted daughter. Justice is a lot of fairness and getting what one deserves, be it good or bad. Tracy Logan.
George Ford, born to sharecroppers in Virginia, lived in an orphanage, adopted at age 14 by a family to work as a houseboy, graduated from Purdue in aeronautical engineering. Justice means that everyone is treated equally. All who work hard and do the same job should get the same pay. George Ford.
Daniel Wilkin II and Heidi Wilkin, lead a youth group for underprivileged children. Justice is Lady Justice, being blindfolded, holding the scale of justice, and making decisions based on the facts. Justice is also making sure that people have equal access to resources. Daniel Wilkin II and Heidi Wilkin.
Dan Lemasters lives with ongoing diabetes diagnosis. Justice is following the scales of balance in
in all things. When there is justice, all people should be treated equally. Dan Masters.
Edward Naira. As a child, immigrated to the United States from Cuba as part of Operation Pedro Pan. Justice means we have the freedom to do things, but that does not mean we have the license to do unjust things. We do not have the right to do things that are harmful to others. Eduardo Naira.
Andrew Fox, Iranian American who was trapped in Iran without his U.S. passport for over 8.5 years. Until there is a shift in the way people are treated and basic rights are given, I don't think we will have justice. Do what you can. Andrew Fox.
Gerard Crosty works as a lead coach at Fountain Village, which empowers teens from hard places to reach their full potential. Justice is equality. Justice is being there for what people are going through. Justice is being accountable. If a person does something that is going to impact people in the wrong way, it should be brought to light and made right. So justice is making things right. Gerard Crosty.
Shauna Cronican, survivor of sexual abuse, works as a trauma therapist. Justice is fairness. It is one's own ability to rise above circumstance and situation. With the support of community and individuals, justice is the recognition of microaggression and trauma that individuals have faced, and the ability and the want to fight against it. Shauna Cronican.
Kristen Shrimplin, survivor of sexual violence, executive director of Women Helping Women. Justice is what love looks like in public. Kristen Shrimplin.
Susie DeYoung, Executive Director, La Soup in Walnut Hills, which rescues and transforms food to fight food insecurity in Cincinnati. Justice is equity for all, and for La Soup, that is through food. Food is everybody's basic human right, and it should not be based on where you live or how you grew up. Everybody should have access to good, healthy food. Susie DeYoung.
Holly Hankinson, Advocacy Director at Greater Cincinnati Foundation, which connects people with purpose and leads that change towards a more vibrant and equitable Greater Cincinnati. Justice is tied to equity, but is almost making sure that the rules are applied the same to everyone. Holly Hankinson.
Dr. Alvin Crawford, jazz musician, orthopedic surgeon, teacher, mentor, Navy veteran. Justice is allowing a person to receive the rights that they have based on whatever system they are in. As citizens in the United States, that means equity. For citizens who do the right thing, justice allows them to pursue whatever elements they want to the fullest without restrictions. That to me is justice. Dr. Alvin Crawford.
Hillary Weidner, member of the board of Life Center Organ Donor Network. Justice is doing the right thing. Justice is making the wrongdoing right and doing right by people. Justice is helping those who cannot speak up for themselves. Justice is standing up for people who need some help making sure that things are right for them. Hillary Weidner.
Marsha Endress, MMD, who works in psychiatric emergency services at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. Justice means that people get a fair chance to explain what has happened to them, but it comes from their perception, and their perception is not necessarily reality. Marsha Endress.
Jan Milton, breast cancer survivor, Director of Education and Support for Pink Ribbon Girls, a nonprofit which exists to serve every person and family affected by breast and gynecological cancer. Justice is all of us being heard and treated equally. Justice is equitable and non-biased access to healthcare. Jan Middleton.
David Ritter, neurologist who fosters children with medically complex needs. Justice is being fair and equal in how you treat situations and people. David Ritter.
Dr. George E. Smolian advocates for medical equality for marginalized groups, especially for members of the LGBTQ community and for IV drug abusers. Justice is people of different backgrounds having the same opportunities collectively. If privileged people in society wielded their power to do as much good as possible to provide as much restorative justice as possible, the world would be a lot better place. Dr. George E. Smolian.
Ann Pembauer, Vice President of a nonprofit organization, the Haley Grace Foundation, which rescues and fosters dogs. Justice is when a wrong that has been done is made right. Ann Pembauer.
Matt Butler works with the DeVugood Foundation, which works with local nonprofits to facilitate projects which target the identified needs of the community. Justice is everyone being treated equally, and no one's safety or convenience is placed over anyone else's. Matt Butler.
Reynosa Onwumelu,
a writer who writes content for organizations that elevate the voices and narratives of people of color. Justice is creating the opportunity for a group of people, or assisting them to do the right thing, even if it's hard, or even when everyone else disagrees with what you're trying to do. Justice, it's not about being fair, it's about creating equity. Inosa Onwumelu.
Oscar Ramos grew up working as a migrant farm worker in a labor camp. Teacher who works to ensure access to education for children of migrant farm workers. Fights for environmental justice. Justice is, we do not want a toxic pesticide being used. We fight for it. It gets banned. They can't use it ever again. That's justice. Justice is equitable access to education regardless of background. Oscar Ramos.
Jim Obergefell, an American civil rights activist who was the lead plaintiff in the 2015 U.S. Supreme Court case Obergefell v. Hodges, which legalized same-sex marriage throughout the United States. Justice is every person deserves, receives, and experiences the same thing as every other person when it comes to their right and their ability to live their life. Jim Obergefell.
Mary Knight, Summit graduate and writer who uses her work to remind readers of the power of a single voice. Empathy is the core of justice. Justice begins with each one of us, and then it extends out to encompass the many. One voice makes a difference, like Curly, who spoke up for his mountain. Justice is using the power of our words to really influence and to inspire others to join us. Justice begins with us, each one of us. Mary Knight.
Werner Koppel, survivor of the Holocaust and the inspiration for the 8th grade capstone project. Justice is standing up against hate and prejudice, even when it does not affect you. Werner Koppel.
Don't give up when you feel divided. Don't give up, I'll be by your side on road.